My God, I hate drugs.
Now get an update on the measles outbreak in parts of the country. We talked to Health Undersecretary Eric Domingo. Good morning and thanks for taking our call.
Hey, good morning, Ria.
Yusek, can you update us on the latest figures in the measles outbreak? How many cases nationwide and how many deaths now?
Well, we're still waiting for our verified reports for last week, but cases are still increasing. I think we're up to almost 4,000 cases, and so far we have 70 verified deaths all over the country. But like I said, no, this will be updated probably later by noontime today.
By noontime. Okay, many cases have been recorded at the San Lazaro Hospital in Manila. What's the current situation there? Is it possible that San Lazaro will become like some sort of measles center, meaning they will give priority to measles cases?
Well, yes, San Lazaro is the referral center for all infectious diseases, especially in Metro Manila. So they do prioritize cases, especially measles, that we have them now. As of the weekend, we still had more than 200 cases admitted at San Lazaro. So they opened up a new ward to decongest the area, especially the hallways and the children who are staying like 2 or 3 to a bed. So the situation's improving now. And the Red Cross is going to help us by setting up some portable, tent-like hospitals in the vacant areas of San Lazaro, so we can accommodate more patients in case they come.
Well, given that there's such a large concentration of measles cases in that hospital, what can be done to ensure that the other patients who are there, who are in the hospital for reasons other than measles, don't contract it?
Oh, the measles cases are separated. No? So the patients with other illnesses who are confined to the hospital are admitted in a different wing. So
Okay.
they don't mix around, because measles is a very, very easily contagious and transmissible illness. So we try to separate them from the other patients.
Absolutely. How is the DOH making sure that there's enough bed, supply of medicines and vaccines at San Lazaro, sir?
So right now what we're doing is making sure that anything that they need, they network with the other Metro Manila hospitals so that supplies can be provided. But not only supplies, even the workforce. Some of our nurses and doctors from other DOH hospitals will be going to San Lazaro to help augment the manpower that we have there now.
We reported earlier in our program that it's a challenge for barangay health workers to actually convince parents to have their kids vaccinated. Some parents, shutting their doors and their windows, even denying that there's children in the house. What is the health department's appeal again to parents, and how important is it to have a complete vaccination, not just one shot?
Yeah, no, so what we're really trying to do now, you can imagine how our health workers feel, but, they're very, very strong people. They're really hardworking. And, if 10 years ago it took 5 minutes to convince a mother to have their children vaccinated, they now take their time out, they spend half an hour with the family going house to house and really just explain and inform the family of how important vaccinations are. When you get the vaccine, you need a booster to increase the chances of you being covered. And there's really no other way to prevent illnesses such as measles, such as mumps, rubella, like polio, other than vaccination. It's the best way. It's the only way to protect our children. And we really ask all the mothers to please open their doors and have their children protected and immunized.
All right, very clear. Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. Health Undersecretary Eric Domingo. That's right. Many news we are covering, of course. We were talking about the ban on pork. We are talking about measles, talking about the Grammys.
That's right. A lot of actually is happening right now. And of course, Valentine's Day is coming up. And there's one thing that has hit the news actually is also the pork ban.
Absolutely.
And Chinese student
that we were talking about earlier
that has gone viral, throwing the taho at, and of course she's going to be facing charges. I mean, there's a lot of charges that they face: direct assault, unjust vexation, disobedience to authorities.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just don't understand why you would do such a thing.
Exactly, and it does not help her that this was completely viral, spread like wildfire on the internet.
Right. Well, and then economist Emmanuel Lego, a former acting Secretary of Social Welfare, said really that the budget delay will seriously impact government plans, as much as 1 to 2.3% in GDP, so they say.
okay.
Wow.
And of course, the Grammy Awards Coming up, of course, in a few hours, the 2019 Grammy Awards. Exciting times in the music industry as we see artists walk down the red carpet. We were talking about it earlier.
That's right. Well, this is actually the biggest night in music. I mean, the best of the
Alicia
best is
Keys.
actually getting together, and she's hosting.
Yes.
She's hosting, and she's so excited to actually host the Grammys this year. And there's also going to be a lot of controversies happening behind the scenes, and I'm sure by tomorrow or maybe later on the day, we'll give you the blow-by-blow of what actually happened.
So just stay tuned to CNN Philippines. Stick around. We have more stories for you coming up. You are watching New Day here on CNN Philippines. Good morning.
A temporary ban on pork from Japan as swine fever spreads in the East Asian country. The Department of Agriculture says it is suspending the entry of Japanese pork and pork products as quarantine officials validate reports with the World Animal Health Organization. Reports say the swine fever is affecting several prefectures in Japan, with over 100 wild boars testing positive for the virus and some 15,000 pigs expected to be culled. In January, the Philippine government also banned pork from over a dozen countries affected by African swine fever, including China. The United Nations says swine fever, which has no vaccine or cure, was first detected in Asia in 2018 in an area in Siberia.
For today's business report, the economic outlook for the Philippines got a boost as inflation eased to 4.4% in January, which is the lowest in 10 months, with the BSP expecting full year 2019 inflation to be roughly 3.1% within their inflation target. As a result, a number of analysts have seen that as a factor supporting the country's economic growth. Of course, the government should continue to be vigilant as some of the same risks that pushed inflation higher last year remain, such as fuel prices and food supply. I did get to speak to AIM economics professor and former acting social welfare secretary Emmanuel Leco regarding his outlook for the Philippine economy, as well as some of the reforms of the administration that are intended to spur growth. Here's some of what he had to say.
Everybody is hoping that the 4.4 inflation will continue to decelerate the inflation in the country. However, I think there are a lot of other factors that we have to watch. The same factors that pushed inflation higher last year, for example, fuel prices from the world market, the food supply or rice supply problem that we had last year. I think these are the same factors that could trigger another increase in our inflation. I think what's important is that while we are hoping that inflation will continue to decelerate, we should be prepared to have options to manage inflation. Well, for us, the country's economy has been sustained. The growth has been pushed by consumption and mostly fueled by OFW remittances. And I think you can continue to observe that while the economy in their host countries may not be doing so well, the remittances in the Philippines continue to grow. So for us, being a consumption-driven economy, we'd like to make sure that the current trend in our economic growth, the remittances that are coming in, should be invested in addressing the fundamental economic infrastructure of the country, making sure that what we are seeing as growth will be translated into a more permanent economic growth for the country. What does that mean? I think we should build economic infrastructures, particularly for our agriculture and our industries. I don't think we can see a strong Philippine economy without a strong agricultural base. And I don't think we can participate meaningfully in the global market if we have a weak industrial activity in the country. If our history, our recent experience with our forecast last year is to be used, I am not that confident, and I'd like to probably call on our economic managers just to be prepared with what we can do supposing inflation hits us again, supposing the peso drops again, supposing the U.S. Interest rates go up and then draw attention to their economy again, as usual, what can we do to make sure that the investors stay here and our local market becomes vibrant with our local demand?
Well, Mr. Leco also said that the government needs to move faster on strengthening the country's economic infrastructure, particularly the agricultural infrastructure.
Concerts and musical performances are your thing this Valentine's Day. Well, why not try this one? American singer-songwriter Steven Speaks is back in the country once again to serenade us on Valentine's Day. So tell us more about this. Welcome back, first of all. It seems like yesterday we were together on the same couch.
It does seem like yesterday. It was a whole year ago.
It was
Can you believe it?
I can't believe it. It's like we're so close now, you know? Like,
yeah.
So I like your new guitar. I like the whole new look.
Yeah, I got a new guitar. I got a new jacket.
I love it. I love it. So
I'm a new man. New hat.
New hat.
Yeah.
So tell us more about what we can expect in your upcoming concert. I know it's more than just one day. You're doing a series of mall shows, actually.
A series of mall shows. I'm doing a lot of SM shows. I'm doing 14 shows in 16 days and 5 news appearances.
Sounds like a world record to me.
I know. Yeah, I flew here on a 25-hour flight, and within 24 hours, I was on the road, so.
Okay, so with all that's happening in like a week's time, what can we expect? Songs that you're going to be singing, special guests?
I've got Paolo Santos and Sabrina opening up for me at some of these shows. So you can catch up. You can check out stevenspeaks.com or any of my social media sites for where we're playing. We got a fanzine with some songs and lyrics and stuff that we're selling at the shows, exclusive.
I like that, a fanzine.
So, yeah, it's cool.
There you go. Since you're performing Valentine's Day, you know, a lot of people are in love, in and out of love. So do you have any advice, love advice? Hey, that's new. Love advice that you can give.
Yes, fall in love every day. People think you like fall in love once, and you know, guys are like, oh man, she's not into me anymore. And the first thing I always say, and I remind myself this, do you court her and try to get her to fall in love with you like you did before? When you're dating, you buy her flowers, do all these nice things. But as you've been with someone for a while, you just stop doing that stuff. And like, it never gets easier to woo a woman. You have to try.
Hey, it sounds like a new song, actually.
Hey, there we go.
Know? I mean,
some
it's
song lyrics.
A lot of love advice. So what is it? Okay, I know we asked you this last time you were here in the Philippines, but you know, I think you're actually so much a part of our culture already. I mean, you know, when it comes to...
And you're a part of me.
And there you go, another song. When it comes to what is it, once again, about the Philippines that, you know, attracts you to keep coming back?
I seriously think Filipino people are the nicest people in the world. It's a culture very loving, very romantic, and I'm romantic. So I think it gels with me. I love it here. And I think it's similar. It goes both ways. I think that's
Have you gotten more adventurous with your Filipino food? Have you tried newer things? Are you going to expand and go see different places?
Oh yeah. So we got, I've been, last time I was here, last year, I did a lot of reef stuff, going swimming in the ocean. I've got a couple of coral reef tanks in my house, 3 of them actually. So I love the ocean, but I live nowhere near the ocean.
Exactly.
So I think I should have been born in a tropical climate. I think I was meant to be.
You're meant to be Filipino.
Yeah, I was. In my heart, I'm Filipino.
I think so. And with that, do invite everybody to come and catch your show.
Yeah, please come catch my show. I've got 10 SM Mall shows and maybe more. So come check them out. Check us out on social media. We'll be posting this. Thanks for CNN for having me again.
Always, always. I remember last time you were here, you're going to be in Andre's car after you sing your song. And I know you're also going to have limited edition fan magazines.
Yeah, the fanzine. You got to come to the show to get it though. So be sure to come check out one of my mall gigs. Okay, so those will all be sold at the venues for the special thing and a meet and greet. Yeah, so last time I was doing everything on my own. This time I teamed up with Universal Music, MCA, and they are awesome. So we'll have meet and greets and photo shoots if you come check out the show. Okay, so once again, what song will you be singing for us today?